Hey everybody, this is Varun from GlobalProtect Prisma Access product management team. Today I'll be delivering a session on GlobalProtect app log collection and troubleshooting capability. With the remote work being the new normal, the remote access based support requests will continue to increase due to the whole COVID-19 situation. Let's take a look at how GlobalProtect can help admins address this and help improve the overall IT supportability. So let's take a dive right in. There are quite a few moving parts. Let's see how this feature works. This feature is available for both NGFW and Prisma Access deployments. In both these deployments, what is the first step? The administrator makes a request from Panorama to obtain certificate that is required for establishing the mutual TLS session between Cortex Data Lake and GlobalProtect on the employee's endpoint. In 1.8 Cloud Services plugin and Prisma Access deployments, the admin will have to resort to the CLI to make this request. In 2.0 and above, the admin can basically make this request using the UI. And this would be applicable for both Prisma Access and NGFW deployments. The certificate is then downloaded to the tenant's mobile user template in the case of Prisma Access deployment. In the case of NGFW, it can be downloaded to any template or template stack and location that the portal configuration is a part of. GlobalProtect on the employee's endpoint then authenticates with the portal. It could be in an always-on config, it could be in an on-demand connect method. So GlobalProtect authenticates with the portal, and then upon successful authentication, GlobalProtect retrieves the certificate, which is required for establishing the mutual TLS session between Cortex Data Lake and the GlobalProtect on the endpoint. Then, if the user were to encounter any issues while accessing specific applications, or maybe there's a performance issue, then the user would report that specific issue by sending the troubleshooting and the diagnostic logs from the GlobalProtect endpoint. And then, once these logs have been successfully sent over to the Cortex Data Lake, then these logs will be made available on the Explore app. This feature is not enabled by default. Admin has to enable log collection for troubleshooting in the portal client app configuration so that the report an issue button shows up on GlobalProtect app, provided the other license requirements are met. From an OS platform perspective, this feature would be available on Windows, macOS, Linux, Android, and iOS. Admin can also enter destination URLs of applications deemed critical for business productivity, against which GlobalProtect will run diagnostics and network latency measurement tests. These tests are latency, packet loss, jitter, TCP connect time, and trace route that are conducted with and without the GlobalProtect tunnel, that is across both virtual and physical adapters. Admin can compare and contrast latency measurements between endpoint and destinations across the interfaces, thereby providing a more comprehensive view to troubleshoot the end-user reported app access, performance, and connectivity issues. The remote user can report an issue to the IT admin at the click of a button. The GlobalProtect app will generate a troubleshooting report and send it to the Cortex Data Lake instance of the customer to enable quick resolution of the issue. From an admin perspective, these are some of the questions that the admin would like to know. What authentication profile was used to authenticate against the portal or gateway? What is the split tunnel configuration on the endpoint? Access route based, app based, or domain based? Is the SSL certificate for portal or gateway valid? What protocol was used for the tunnel? Why was there a fallback from IPsec to SSL? And so on and so forth. So these are some of the questions that the admin can answer using the troubleshooting report that is generated and made available on the Explore app. By default, only the troubleshooting logs are sent. The troubleshooting logs contain information related to portal and gateway authentication, portal and gateway connectivity, and the network state of the endpoint. GlobalProtect app 525 and above comes with built-in diagnostics capability the end user can request GlobalProtect to conduct diagnostic tests and send a report containing both troubleshooting and diagnostic information. The diagnostic information includes the endpoint state, gateway latencies, app access performance, thereby enabling admin to troubleshoot connection, performance, and app access issues. These logs are only sent upon user consent. The text that is seen on the report and issue modal is not admin configurable. However, a link to the CDL privacy datasheet is provided where the user can navigate to check out the various data categories collected and processed by CDL. The IT admin can use the Explore app to access and view the GP app troubleshooting logs sent from the endpoint. The Explore app presents the troubleshooting log information in a structured report format, enabling easy identification of the root cause of the issue. The IT admin can access the troubleshooting reports and logs within seconds of the remote user reporting the issue, enabling quick resolution. In addition to this, the admin can download the debug log bundle as well, which gives the admin access to PanGPA, PanGPS, PanGP event logs that were accessible via the manual collection of logs from the Troubleshooting tab on the GlobalProtect application. Let's take a look at the demo of GlobalProtect app log collection and troubleshooting feature, right from the setting up of the feature to the end user being able to report an issue from the GlobalProtect application. As an admin, if you want to enable this feature, ensure that Enable Log Collection for Troubleshooting is set to yes. By default, it is actually set to no. If certain business applications are deemed critical for business productivity, you may want to perform network latency measurement tests. And if so, you would have to enter those destination URLs against this text box for run diagnostic tests for these destination web servers. When this is enabled, and if the end user requests GlobalProtect to run diagnostic tests, these network latency measurement tests will be run against these destination URLs as part of the diagnostic tests which are run by GlobalProtect. I've logged into a tenant, and on my left you can see the Service Setup tab, and on my right there's a new section titled GlobalProtect App Log Collection and Autonomous DEM. This feature requires that the customer have a Prisma Access 1.8 plugin and above, Cortex Data Lake instance, Prisma Access mobile user license, GlobalProtect app 525 and above. The admin will then be able to generate a certificate to secure the connection between GlobalProtect on the endpoint and the Cortex Data Lake instance, and then be able to push the certificate to end user devices so that the end users will then be able to report an issue and send these logs to the Cortex Data Lake instance tied to the customer account. For Prisma Access customers using the 1.8 plugin, admin would generate the certificate using a CLI command. The UI to generate the certificate for the feature is in 2.0 plugin. The CLI retrieval of certificates would be supported in 2.0 as well. For Prisma Access customers using 2.0 plugin, this is where an admin would navigate to download the certificate to establish connectivity between GlobalProtect on the endpoint and the customer's Cortex Data Lake instance. Upon selecting this button, a certificate will be generated and downloaded to the mobile user template associated with the tenant on a Prisma Access instance. Once the certificate has been successfully generated and downloaded to the mobile user template, this is how the UI looks like. The admin can view the certificate class generated date timestamp and also the path to which the certificate has been downloaded to. As an admin, you will have to navigate to the portal configuration in order to be able to push this certificate onto the end user devices upon successful GlobalProtect portal authentication. Over here you can see that GlobalProtect _app_log_cert is the name of the certificate that was generated for being able to establish the connectivity between GlobalProtect on the endpoint and the Cortex Data Lake attached to the tenant. And this is how the admin would then be able to push the certificate onto the end user devices. On NGFW, the certificate generation process is very similar to the Prisma Access certificate generation process. Once the certificate has been generated, the certificate date timestamp and also the path where the certificate has been downloaded to is displayed. Since there is no mobile user template in a NGFW deployment, the template or the template stack and the location is chosen by the admin where the certificate has to be downloaded. Also, in addition to the generate certificate option, there is also a copy certificate option in the NGFW deployments wherein the admin can select it to copy the certificate from one template to another. And over here you can see that there are two different options for the admin. One to select the template that the admin should download the certificate to, and also the location where the admin needs to download the certificate to. Since this certificate has to be pushed to the end user devices, the admin must make sure that the template and the location that is chosen here is basically one that the portal configuration is a part of. Also, once the certificate has been generated, the admin would then be able to push the certificate using the portal config upon successful GlobalProtect portal authentication. Once the certificate is pushed down to the end user devices and the feature is enabled, then end user will be able to report an issue and also send logs to the Cortex Data Lake instance tied to the customer account, and these logs will then be made visible using the Explore application. Let's check out how the end user experience looks like while reporting an issue. Here you can see that GlobalProtect is connected to the US East gateway. There are no error messages visible on the GlobalProtect main panel. The portal that I'm connected to has the GlobalProtect app log collection troubleshooting feature enabled. As a result, I am able to see the report an issue option when clicked on the hamburger menu. Let's say I want to access a specific gateway and that is not reachable at the moment. I want to connect to that gateway because I want to either access resources that are behind the gateway, or I want to view content that is localized to a specific language. You will see that GlobalProtect will give a notification saying it wasn't able to connect. Here you go. And as a result, it has connected to the best available gateway. As an end user, I could be confused as to why GlobalProtect is not able to connect to that specific gateway. So the next step that I take is to report this issue. During this instance, I don't want to collect all the diagnostic info. I just want to report the troubleshooting info over to the admin. The report and issue modal displays all the types of tests that are conducted, both troubleshooting and diagnostics, and the Cortex Data Lake, the destination for all these logs. It also gives the end user an option to view the privacy data sheet as well, as you can see here. And let's say I report this issue to the admin that's made available via Explore app. The logs have been successfully sent. I'm able to see this message along with the timestamp. If, however, admin wants to further troubleshoot the issue and wants to run diagnostics from the endpoint, at that point in time, the end user clicks on Run Diagnostics and include diagnostic logs, clicks Continue. One thing to keep in mind is that unlike troubleshooting info, the diagnostic test could take up to a few minutes. That, of course, is dependent on the number of destination URLs configured by the administrator on the portal dynamic app config that was reviewed earlier. Diagnostic tests take time because it gives a lot of information to the admin related to A, the endpoint state in terms of CPU utilization, memory, disk, etc. B, GlobalProtect app health, whether GlobalProtect was tampered or not, the version details, whether it was upgraded or downgraded from a previous version. C. Gateway latency measurement via physical adapter. And D. App access performance. So the network latency measurements are conducted across the virtual and the physical adapter from the endpoint, so that the admin can compare and contrast the latency measurements across these interfaces. Once the diagnostic info has been sent, the acknowledgement is shown to the end user along with the timestamp. If the end user were to report an issue and there have been no error messages displayed, or there have been no error scenarios encountered by GlobalProtect, then when the end user tries to report an issue, this is the message shown to the end user. And if required, the end user can also run diagnostic tests to help the IT admin determine what the root cause is. If not, they can also retry. Now let's take a look at how all of this information that is sent by the end user presented on the Explore app. This view is the default view for the admin. Admin can filter by any of the columns that are seen on the default view, like operating system, endpoint serial number, and so on and so forth. In my example, I've chosen the username filter with the filter value set to the user who had earlier reported the issue and the logs. These logs will be housed under a new category, that is Endpoint GlobalProtect App Troubleshooting. There are two kinds of reports sent by the user. As you can see by this column report type, you see two different types, that is diagnostics and troubleshooting. Let's take a look at how the troubleshooting logs look like. This information is categorized into portal, gateway, and network. The endpoint state through app access performance constitute the diagnostic logs. They're empty since the end user in this instance did not have the GlobalProtect send diagnostic logs. Taking a look at portal and gateway, we see that there are elements or fields that are common to both these sections, and those include SSL certificate validity, the FQDN address of the portal and the gateway. Was the portal reachable or was the gateway reachable? The authentication that was used, and also the connection status. Was the gateway even connected or the portal even connected at the time of reporting this issue? The fields that are unique to the portal help answer questions like, was the GlobalProtect app using cached config? And has a configuration refresh taken place? Fields that are unique to the gateway help answer questions like, what are the list of attempted gateways? What was the tunnel protocol? Was it IPsec or SSL? Did IPsec fail for a specific reason? What was the fallback to SSL reason? Does the endpoint have direct access to local subnet? What is the status on that? The network state is aimed at answering network-related questions like, was the user in an internal network? Did the user have internet access? Was there a captive portal? Or was there a proxy server in the path? What was the GlobalProtect MTU? And if the tunnel network was dual stack or not, and so on and so forth, further providing admin with visibility into the network and also allowing the admin to make decisions regarding next steps to troubleshoot the issue. So the diagnostics piece of the report contains multiple sections. The various sections are endpoint state, GlobalProtect app health, gateway network impairments, and app access performance. Endpoint state talks about the total and GlobalProtect CPU and memory utilization, the disk space availability. So basically the device characteristics or the endpoint characteristics is what is made available using the endpoint state. The GlobalProtect app health seeks to answer questions like, was the enforcer enabled? Does the user have sufficient privileges to run the application? When was the last HIP report sent over to the firewall. So what is the split tunnel configuration set on the endpoint? Is it domain-based, app-based? Is it access route-based? What is the install history? What is the disable history? And what is the crash history of the GlobalProtect app on the endpoint? Was the app tampered with? And also, additionally, on mobile platforms, it also determines if the device is jailbroken or not. The gateway network impairments provide gateway latency measurement via the physical adapter. When it comes to app access performance, over here you can see that the network latency measurement tests are conducted against the destinations specified by the admin in the portal dynamic app config. So the destinations that I had earlier entered were Salesforce and Slack. So here you can basically see that the latency measurements against these destinations are conducted once using the physical adapter and another using the virtual adapter. So the tests that are conducted, irrespective of the adapter using which they are conducted, are the latency, jitter, packet loss, TCP connect time, time to first byte, download size, download speed, trace route, and like I said, these are conducted once using the physical adapter and once using the virtual adapter of GlobalProtect, so that the admin has an ability to compare and contrast the network latency measurements and the digital experience for their end users across both these interfaces to determine if there is a network issue that is contributing to a connectivity issue for the end users or not. Additionally, the admin also has ability to download the debug log bundle by clicking on the top right corner button. This debug log bundle is the same as the manual collection of logs from the troubleshooting tab on the GlobalProtect user interface. And by downloading this, the admin has access to the traditional PAN-GPA, PAN-GPS, PAN-GP event, and all the other logs that constitute the debug log bundle.
Thanks again for watching this great video. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified of all new videos that we put out on the live community. Thank you very much. Have a great day.